Cashflow Pro offers free money management advice to help you take control of your finances. And now here's your host, personal finance enthusiast and licensed insurance broker, James Barber.
All right, welcome to Oregon Cashflow Pro. My name is James Barber. I'm here to help you maximize your cash flow. As you can see, we're taking this show on the road today. Much like we can't control the stock market, we can't control Mother Nature. And she decided that I didn't need electricity tonight. And since that just happened a little while ago, it kind of threw a wrench in the plans. Hey, Poker. Good evening. Oliver, hey. Here in California, Governor Newsom gave an executive order for all vehicles to be zero emissions by 2035. It's only a matter of time. By that time, Tesla will be too advanced. You're calm about everything. Nice. Hey, that's pretty cool. 2035 is a good goal. How's everybody doing tonight? Is everything sounding okay? Can you hear me all right? So this is Wealth Care Wednesdays. We're here to talk about finances, maximizing your cash flow. You guys can ask me questions. Wayne saw it too. You guys can ask me questions about cash flow, finances, dynamic banking, infinite banking, whatever I can do to provide value for you so that you can help maximize your cash flow, move your money better. Okay, Poker says the sound is good. All right. Got that Pop-Tarts and energy on deck. Well, no Pop-Tarts. I got the energy. Courtesy of JT. Thanks, JT. So we're good there. But I'll have to get dinner after this. Definitely, I've been scrambling since the power went out. So it didn't give me too much time to do anything to prepare. So, what can I do to help you folks out today? Any of you have some burning questions? I know a lot of us have taken a beating in the stock market. It looked like the market was just red everywhere. One of the things that allows me to kind of get through this and not be too stressed about it, be able to write it out, is, my positions utilizing infinite banking. It puts me in a position that I kind of have things in the long term taken care of. So I think it helps me to stay calm and not worry too much about wrenches that may be thrown in our fiscal plans in the short term. Oliver, okay, if you're a first-time buyer of a house, what would be the 5 things you look for? Ooh, 5 things that I would look for. First-time home buyer of a house. Let's see. There's so many things that I would consider. And actually, when it comes to any of these questions, it helps to look at somebody's overall financial picture. Oftentimes, first-time home buyer, you're going to end up with a house that is on the lower end of the price range, right? So there's definitely some things that you're going to run into that you got to look out for and you got to be prepared for. So one, always get an inspection. Always get a home inspection, no matter which house you make an offer on. Even if it's a brand new construction, you would be surprised what a home inspection can uncover, because not everybody builds a good house. So I've heard some stories. Even on new construction that are surprising. Totally here to stay. Thanks for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. So I'd say that's number 1. Number 2, work with a realtor. It's fairly easy these days with all the tools out there to avoid using a realtor, but what they can provide you is knowledge about the market that you're in, actual comps, not just the generic electric comps that you tend to get with a lot of the do-it-yourself services these days. They can really connect you with providers of all the services in the area. They may know specific neighborhoods, so they can help you identify neighborhoods that may actually work best for you. And also know that real estate brokers that work with the buyer they all get paid by the seller. We'll say 99% of the time. 99% of the time, the seller is paying their real estate agent a commission, and that real estate agent splits the commission with a buyer's realtor. So don't think about cost on your end as a first-time home buyer or as a buyer in general. So how many things is that? Is that number 2? Real estate broker is number 2. Number 1, home inspector. 2, real estate broker. 3, since you're looking at things that are in the lower price range, you're tending to find older homes. Homes older than 1978, there's a risk of lead in the paint. There's a risk of asbestos in insulation, in the ceilings, and some of the materials. Those are all things to consider. They're not necessarily a threat unless they're exposed in some way. So first-time home buyer, you've got to know if your house has that risk. You don't necessarily have to test for it as long as you mitigate the risk. And mitigate the risk would be making sure everything is painted really good, because a solid paint will keep everything from being exposed. If you have young kids and they're licking the windowsills, if there's a layer of good paint over it, they're not going to get to the lead. Okay? So always make sure that you have good coverage on paint. It's even more necessary when it comes to older homes. Same thing, popcorn ceilings. Popcorn ceilings the risk there was asbestos. So you're not going to want to knock down those popcorns because it generates dust that gets in the air, and that's what you're breathing in. So age of the home, asbestos, and lead. You've also got radon that could be a consideration. It's not a consideration everywhere, but radon is a gas. It comes up out of the ground, and it would come up in your foundation underneath your house, and it can enter your house that way. Not a very big risk, but it is a risk and something that you should be aware of. As a first-time homebuyer, you may or may not be aware of all of these risks. And so finding out too late is bad news. So I think that gives us number 3 and 4. Let's say number 5, be aware, or actually I think we'll lump all those in number 3. Number 4, we'll say maintenance. Be aware of what you need for maintenance in your home. Changing your air filters regularly on your heating and air conditioning system. You want to change the air filter regularly. They don't last forever. In fact, some of them only are designed to only last a few months. Those are the single, really thin ones. You can get some really thick ones that are designed to last 6 months to a year, but that's always going to depend on how things go in your house. But indoor air quality can be a major factor in your health. So you want to make sure that your filters are working good. Other maintenance items like maintaining your water heater properly. I'm sure there's other ones that are out there, but I can't really think of them. But that's one of the main things, is have your maintenance items. And then I'll say number 5, start a capital expense account. Set aside, even if it's 10 or 15 or 20 bucks a month, start setting some money aside for major repairs. Hot water heaters don't last forever. They only last for like about 10 years or so. Your roof may only last 20, 30, 40 years, depends on what kind it is, and odds are you're not buying it with a new roof. So you'll probably encounter that sooner. There's all kinds of expenses that pop up. Make sure you're prepared. So there you go. There's your 5 things. Hopefully that gives you a sufficient answer. Poker asks, since you use the wealth building blocks, what would your rule of thumb to risk in the stock market after you pass money through an infinite banking policy? What would your rule of thumb be to risk in the stock market after you pass money through an infinite banking policy? I haven't actually thought about a specific rule of thumb for money that you can risk. But I will say in general, without not just using wealth building blocks alone, but we like to use dynamic banking, so we're maximizing our cash flow. And when we're doing dynamic banking, if you've already paid down debts that you have to pay down, and now you're utilizing that function, and whether you're using dynamic banking with a line of credit or your policy, in this case as an infinite bank, but it functions like a line of credit. If you're on the positive side of the equation where you're using it for wealth building. That's where you can use chunks instead of throwing chunks towards debt. I would be comfortable putting chunks into some investment. Now that could be, preferably you're going to fund your Roth first if you can. Once you max that out for the year, you're going to fund, well, then you can look at just getting into the stock market if that's where you want to be investing. So if stock market is your choice of investing, which I've been having a lot of fun doing that lately, that's how I would, that would be a basic rule of thumb, I guess. If you're using those extra blocks, the chunks that you would throw out, I would feel comfortable using that, putting it into the stock market, because we're basically playing with the house money when we're doing that. We're borrowing for free, and we're using our paychecks to offset the interest charges on that. So it's a good opportunity to create some arbitrage there. If you're going for short-term profits, make your short-term profits, put them back in, and cover the costs of borrowing. As far as the wealth building blocks go, that's a much deeper conversation. Wealth building blocks, I would definitely point you to watch my videos, especially the most recent one, which was revisiting. Yeah, stream is buffering constantly, I hear. I'm basically tethering from my phone, so let me know if you guys are having a hard time here. I'm not sure how well this is coming through, but hopefully it's not coming through too bad. If this is coming through bad, though, I'll get off of this way, and I'll just go straight through my phone, which will actually work. It'll be better as far as just being able to talk with you guys. So talk with me in the comments. Let me know if you are getting, and let me know if you're getting a decent signal coming through. Let me know if you're getting a decent signal coming through. So it says it's experiencing minor issues to quality is good. David, why only 9 viewers? Well, our Wealthcare Wednesdays live stream doesn't generate near the number of folks as our stock market watch does. I think either a lot of people have their finances figured out, or they're just not up to asking questions. Let's see. Okay, stream is fine. Okay, so back to that wealth building blocks. Check out my last video that I did on that. It's called Revisiting Wealth Building Blocks. The idea behind wealth building blocks is how to maximize your infinite banking policy. Get up to your MEC level. So I kind of view those separately, utilizing the wealth building blocks as turning them into something that you would risk in the stock market, if that makes sense. We utilize dynamic banking to create the space that gives us the ability to put towards investments. Our wealth building blocks is just about maximizing our policies and getting as close to that MEC as we can. Okay, Jones says video cut out once or twice. Now it's okay. Okay, yeah, my cell signal did jump up, so looks like it's doing all right. All right, Dave says don't worry, continue. Good. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question. Thanks for that question. Thanks for that question. Glad to see you guys here. So yeah, nine viewers. Not too bad. Yeah, today we lost a lot through the. Today we lost a lot in the market. That's for sure. It's going to be a bloodbath. We're not looking for a very strong fourth quarter. So if we're talking about maximizing our cash flow, watch what you've got at risk in the fourth quarter in the stock market. It's going to be a wild ride. Try and plan, as I tell people, don't panic, plan. So you might want to have a backup plan on how to get from here into 2021, no matter what the stock market's going to do. That could be taking on some long option plays that carry you through and provide you with a guaranteed return depending on how you play it. Yeah, so that's what I'm exploring right now. We're going to explore how to get from here to there. I have the ability, I can just pull out if I need to, park my money back into my infinite banking policies, and just get back my solid, 4 to 6% return that I'm going to get on it. So that may end up being the best play if it gets really rocky. As far as where I'm going. But if you guys don't have that option, you're going to have to come up with a plan that fits yours. If you need help with that plan, if you want to talk about it, you're welcome to ask questions here in the live stream, or you're welcome to meet with me one-on-one. Just sign up at calendly.com/cashflowpro, and you can get a free 20-minute consultation with me, and I'm happy to talk to you, help you maximize your situation. Oliver says, what are your thoughts on having multiple credit cards for credit building? You have only one credit card. I like credit cards for credit building. They're actually a great way of building your credit. If you're young, how old are you, Oliver? One of the things I talk about in one of my videos, building credit for teens or something like that. It was an old one I did. Something you can do to help build your credit quickly is to, I forget the term, you're basically tethering off of somebody else's credit experience. And it's typically a family member, somebody who's had a credit card for a long time, one that they've always made regular payments on, they've never had late payments. If they just add you as an additional user, they don't even have to give you the card or give you access to the card. But if they add you to it, it can immediately boost your credit score because you get that whole history of the card. 28 years old, credit score upper 780s. Oh, you're doing just fine then. Okay. Are you trying to get up to the 800s? Definitely check out my video on maximizing your credit score. It basically goes over every detail of what makes your credit score, how much it affects it, and if you want to get up into the 800s, you should be able to get the ideas from that on how to get there. But definitely managing how much outstanding credit you have compared to your credit balance, that's probably the biggest factor, especially when it comes to credit cards. But if you want to, I would definitely get more credit cards because they make such a huge impact in demonstrating to creditors how well you utilize credit. And you don't have to use them. You don't need to pay anybody interest, okay? You do need to use them, otherwise they'll get closed. But how you use them is everybody has regular expenses that we have throughout the month, okay? Just put one of those expenses on one credit card and have it set to automatically pay off each month. That will give you a payment, and it'll get usage every single month. You're going to build up that credit history on multiple cards without paying interest. Preferably you're using a rewards card, so you're going to end up, it's essentially like giving yourself a discount on all of your payments. So I use a credit card to pay my utility bills. I use a credit card to pay my car insurance. That one's a tricky one. If you just try to go use a credit card to pay your car insurance, like I use Progressive, and they want to charge you extra. They want to charge you like 5% to use the card. Or it might be a fee like $7 or $9, but it ends up being equal to 5% or so. That's way too much. You're not going to get that much in a discount. But I figured out a way to get around that so that I can still use my card. And what I do is I set it up on auto pay out of my bank, and then each month when it rolls around and it's time for me to pay my bill, before it auto withdraws from my bank account, I get on and I pay by credit card, and they let me do that for free. They don't charge me that fee. So I get to utilize a credit card. I get to extend the interest-free use of that money, and I get rewards when I do it. So little hacks like that you can figure out on your own. But car insurance, utilities, I use it for food. Use a credit card for all of your food expenses throughout the month. The main thing is if you do start to use credit cards for all this stuff, don't overspend just because you're using a card. That's one of the hardest things to do because you may offset any savings that you recognize because you just want to start spending willy-nilly. So that definitely something to keep in mind, but that's what I would do. So, okay, Wayne, depends on the age of credit. Just getting a bunch of cards can backfire with weak credit. Yeah, it can, but it only lasts for a very short period of time. So the inquiries on your credit last for 2 years, and then they're off. So if you get a bunch of cards, let's see. At one point, I had 8 inquiries on my credit report. Didn't ding my score all that much. Okay, so some people are sitting on there with 0, and they worry about getting 1 or 2. Don't even worry about it. You can get a bunch. It takes quite a bit to actually hurt your score, and they're going to fall off. You're better off getting the card, start establishing that credit. But, and this goes to Wayne's point, which is something to look out for, is your overall age of your credit does make a difference. And so the more cards you get, it's going to reduce that age. Now, it makes more difference with some of the Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. It makes more of a difference with some of those than the others, the age of the credit. Experian, I think it's less of an issue. Like they don't necessarily score off of your average age. They may just go off of the oldest one, if I recall correctly. So I tend to get a higher score from Experian than I do from some of the other ones because of that. Or maybe it's Equifax. I don't remember which one. But one of those gives me a higher score simply because I had a whole bunch of cards that I opened up a couple of years ago, which shortened my credit age, basically. So definitely something to look out for. Let's see. Ben says, can you explain Allianz loan policies? Can you take a loan during the first year? Yeah. So Allianz loan policy, you can take a loan during the first year. They have what's called a fixed 5% interest. Well, they have a couple different options. The one that I like is the indexed loan, and participating index loan. And what that is a fixed 5% loan, and your cash value stays in the policy, earning whatever the index rate is. It's a great opportunity for arbitrage. If you start this policy and 20 years down the road, you got $1 million in the policy, you want to take out $500,000 loan, you could pay 5% on that loan, and all that $1 million can stay in the policy growing with the market index. So if the market index that you have